G'day YouTubers, I will preview round 2 of the 2024 AFL season. Before I start, it will be appreciated if you can subscribe to my channel. Please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. The summary of my tips for round 1 are: I selected Cal to beat Richmond, you beauty, correct? Unfortunately, I got Sydney incorrect against Collingwood. I tipped Melbourne to beat the Western Bulldogs. I selected Essendon to beat Hawthorn. I selected the Giants to beat the Kangaroos. I got Geelong to beat St Kilda. I had the Suns to beat the Adelaide Crows. I had the Power to beat West Coast. And the last game, I was wrong in selecting Brisbane to beat Fremantle. Overall, I got 7 out of 9 correct. In total, after round 1, I have 11. The first game of the week is St Kilda versus Collingwood at the MCG on Thursday, the 21st of March. There are some players in the mix this week. For St Kilda, Jack Sinclair to be considered. For the Magpies, the players in the mix are Frampton and last week's sub in McRae. The Saints have a large injury list with players consisting of Butler, Clark, Dow, Howard, Haynes, Patton, ex-Blue Stocker added to the list, and the suspended Webster. Collingwood has Dan McStay on the long-term injury list, also with injuries to Murphy and Kruger. Collingwood lost last week to Sydney by 33 points to start the season at 0-2, and the Saints lost their opening game to the Cats. Where the game will be won, I selected Collingwood's midfield as the key. The players of Cameron, Nick Dacos, Mitchell, DeGoey and Pendlebury against Marshall, Ross, Hill, Steele and Crouch. The midfield of Collingwood are first class and oozes with Crawley, and I expect them to beat the Saints midfield. I will tip Collingwood to win. I expect them to win on a Thursday night, and they have been under the pump in the media all this week. I expect the Magpies to come out hard this week. The second game of the week is between Adelaide and Geelong at Adelaide Oval on Friday the 22nd of March. For the Crows in the mix are Tex Walker returning from injury, Keane or McHenry. For the Cats, the players under consideration are Manar and Parfitt. The current injured players for the Crows are Murray to an ACL knee injury, Schoenberg, Sloan and Tilthorpe. The injured players for the Cats are Cam Guthrie and Rowan. Adelaide lost last week to Gold Coast by 6 points, and the Cats beat the Saints. Where the game will be won, I selected Geelong forwards to be the key. The Crows have many defenders missing of Murray and Keane as well. How will the defenders of Butts, Borlase and McElhaney go against the forwards of Hawkins, Cameron and Stengel? If Geelong can get a lot of inside 50, it will be interesting to see how the defence of the Crows defender will stand the Geelong forwards. Without saying all that, I still expect the Crows to win, as the Crows are 5-goal team better at Adelaide Oval. The next game is between North Melbourne and Fremantle. I expect the one change for the Kangaroos to replace the injured Goya, and the player in the mix, or players, are McDonald and Shields. For the Dockers, the players that are under consideration are Tabner, Wass, Draper and Walker. The injured players for the Kangaroos are Goda, Griffin Lowe and Simpkin. The Dockers are missing a number of players that include Cox, McDonald, Darcy and Corbett. Fremantle beat Brisbane last week, and North lost to the Giants by 39 points. Where the game will be won, I selected the Dockers midfielders to be too strong for the emerging young North midfielders. For Fremantle, you have the setup of Jackson in ruck, with the midfielders of Young, Sarong, Brayshaw and Johnson. North's ruck midfield setup consists of Xeri, Davies, Uniacke, Stevens, Bailey Scott, and Will Phillips. The Dockers have more class in the midfield. I am tipping Freo to win the game. The next game is between Hawthorn and Melbourne at the MCG. Players in the mix for Hawthorn is McInnes, whereas for the Demons, the players under consideration are Woiwoden and Petty. The injured players for Hawthorn are Blanc, to an ACL knee injury, Ranger Barras, upcoming superstar in Will Day, and CJ. For the Demons, the players injured are Bowie, McAdam, and Molsham, who is also out to a ACL knee injury. Hawthorn lost their opening game to Essendon last week, and the Demons beat the Bulldogs by 45 points. Where the game will be won, the midfield will be the key. Melbourne has top-end ruck and midfielders in Gawn, Oliver, Winey, Petrarca, and Sparrow. The Hawks have a young ruck midfield setup of Rees, Ward, Nash, Newcombe, and James Walpole. I say the Demons midfielders are just too strong for the Hawks midfielders. I tip the Demons to win. Their midfielder is too strong, with the Demons in win-now mode, and the Hawks are building for the future. The next game is between Sydney and Essendon at the SCG. For the Swans, in the mix is Peter Ladhams, if they want to play an extra tour, but unlikely given it is at the SCG. The player under consideration for the Bombers is Tisestas. The Swans have Mills, Parker and Taylor Adams injured. The Bombers will be missing Parrish, Ridley and Shield to injury. Also, Redmond is suspended for the game. Essendon won the opening game by beating Hawthorn by 24 points, and the Swans beating Collingwood by 33 points. Where the game will be won, the midfield will determine the game, with both teams having players injured to their midfield. The Swans have the ruck midfield setup of Grundy, Jordan, Rowbottom, Chad Warner and Gordon, whereas Essendon have Goldstein, Martin, Caldwell, Merritt and Stedderfield. I think the Swans midfielders will be too good for the Bombers with their class players of Golden and Heaney when you add him to the midfield. I tip Sydney to win as it is at home and the team had an impressive win against Collingwood in round 1 last week. The next game is between the Western Bulldogs and Gold Coast at Ballarat. Players in the mix for the Bulldogs are McRae and Daniel, whereas for Gold Coast, the player under consideration is Darcy McPherson. The Dogs are missing Bailey Smith to an ACL knee injury, Gardner to injury, and the suspended Harms. The Suns will be missing academy graduate in Jed Walter and the suspended Roses Jr. The Bulldogs lost to Melbourne by 45 points, and the Suns beat the Crows by 6 points last week. Where the game will be won, the midfield will be the key. The Dogs have the class of English, Bontempelli, Treloar, Liberatore and McRae, and the Suns have the talent of Witts, Anderson, Rao, Miller and Flanders. I tip the Bulldogs to win as it is in Ballarat and they have a good midfield setup. Plus, Gold Coast have had some fade-outs in their opening 2 games and almost lost to the Crows last week in the last quarter. The next game is between Richmond and Port Adelaide at the MCG. Players in the mix for Richmond are Mansell, Miller, Kozitsky, and for the Power, the players under consideration are Georgiades and Evans. The Tigers are missing Graham, Gibcus to an ACL knee injury, and Prestier also to injuries, while Young is under the concussion protocol. The Power will be missing Lord and Hooge Jackson. The Tigers lost to Cowan by 5 points, and the Power beat the Eagles by 50 points last week. Where the game will be won, the midfield will be the key. The Tigers ruck midfield of Nankervis, Hopper, Taranto, McIntosh and Ross against the Powers setup of Soldo, Butters, Rosie, Wines, and Orn Francis. I tipped the power midfield to be too good, and I've selected the power to win. The last game of the round is between West Coast and GWS in Perth. For the Eagles, there will be changes, as players in the mix are Barnett and Rotten. Whereas for GWS, the players under consideration are McMullen and Keith. The Eagles are missing Flynn, Hewitt, and Ryan to injuries, and Gav has been omitted. The Giants will be missing Ward, Cummings, and Bruce. GWS Giants beat North Melbourne, and West Coast lost to the Power by 50 points last week. Where the game will be won, I selected the Giants midfield to be too strong for the young West Coast midfielders. If you look at the matchup of Williams, Gimby, Kelly, Sheed, and Hunt against Briggs, Tom Green, Kelly, Whitfield, and Coniglio, it's a class difference between the two, and I expect the Giants forwards to have a field day. I tip GWS to win easily by over 30 points, and their forwards of Hogan and Brown to kick a bag. Summary: my tips for round 2 are Collingwood to beat St Kilda, Adelaide to beat Geelong on a Friday night, Fremantle to beat North Melbourne, Melbourne to beat Hawthorn, Sydney to beat Essendon at the SCG, Bulldogs to beat Gold Coast at Ballarat, the Power to beat Richmond, and GWS to beat West Coast. That's the end, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment on my channel. Every subscriber will be appreciated.